Mt Pilatus is one of the most popular mountain excursions from Lucerne, so I'm going to show you how to do it step by step. This map is showing the Pilatus Golden Round Trip, and we're going to be starting in Lucerne, which is number 1 on the map. From the Lucerne train station, you're going to walk directly to the water about 2 minutes over to Pier 2, and that's where the Pilatus boat departs. That boat's going to take a little over an hour to get over to Alpnachstad, which is over here at number 2. At Alpnachstad, you're going to transfer to a steep mountain train that's going to take you all the way up the mountain to the Pilatus viewpoint at number 3. At the top, there's an observation deck where you can safely enjoy the view on all sides of the mountain. At the top, you can visit 3 different viewpoints. You can take some stairs up to the Esel viewpoint here at A and to the Oberhaupt viewpoint at B, or do a longer walk out to Tomlishorn at C. This is the flower trail, or I call it the cliff walk, because it is a pathway that's cut into the side of the mountain. It takes about an hour round trip. When you're done at the top, you can get on the big cable car and ride down to the Frechmund station, which is at number 4. At this station, you can do all the adventure activities. This includes the summer toboggan, which is the longest in Switzerland, the ropes park, which has zip lines, free fall, and other climbing obstacles. That one takes about 3 hours. The treetop path, which is an elevated wooden walkway through the trees, and the dragon glider, which is a slow zip line that winds through the forest. When you're done with those activities, you can get on the gondola and ride all the way down to the valley in Kriens. If you're with children, you can get off at the Krienser Egg stop at number 5 to visit the playground before you go down to the bottom of the mountain. From Kriens, you can take a bus back to Lucerne. You'll need to change once on the way, and then you're done with the round trip. I've shown you the Golden Round Trip going clockwise, starting with the boat, going up the mountain, and then down the cable car, which is one of the most common ways to do it. But you can also do it in reverse, starting with the bus ride cable car up to the top, and then down the mountain train and ending with the boat. I recommend going counterclockwise if the amusements are really important to you, because they tend to get really long lines in the afternoon, so you might want to do those first thing in the day. If you're short on time, you can skip the boat and take a train instead from Lucerne to get to the mountain train, or in the opposite direction. This regular train goes much more frequently and takes a lot less time. So now let's talk about tickets. So before you buy your tickets, you need to decide what time you want to take the mountain train. And this is dependent on how much time you want to spend on the mountain, whether you're going to be taking the boat, which direction you're going to be doing the journey. So let's assume that you're going to start with the boat and then take the mountain train. So we're going to talk about what time you're going to reserve for the mountain train going up the mountain. And these times are coordinated with the arrival of the boat. If you look at the schedule here, I'll be looking up, so you can see that little arrow saying that I'm going to be going up the mountain. So I'm going to start with the boat, and I'm going to take this connection that starts with the boat at 9:38, arriving in Alpnachstad at 10:49, and then I transfer to the mountain train at 11:05. So when I buy the tickets, I need to remember that time. When you're choosing your schedule, pay close attention to all of these notes at the bottom. Some of the boats don't run at all the times during the year. If you're doing the Golden Round Trip in reverse, starting with the cable car, that means you're going to reserve a time for the mountain train at the top at Pilatus Kulm, going down to Alpnachstad, the opposite of what I had before. So if we look at the timetable here, we would be looking at the descent times. And in this case, I usually recommend taking the 2:34 down from the mountain. If you get an early start with the cable car, that'll give you plenty of time to do all the different activities. And then you'll end up in Lucerne at 4:30, so you still have some time in the afternoon to do some activities. Now let's walk through buying a ticket. The process that you take depends on whether you have one of the travel passes. So let's start with the Swiss travel pass, which many tourists are using for their trip in Switzerland. With the Swiss travel pass, the boat and the bus are free, so you only need to buy tickets for the mountain train up to Pilatus and the cable car on the other side of the mountain. If we're doing this clockwise, that means we're going to start with the mountain train from Alpnachstad, riding up to Pilatus, and then ending our day in Kriens when we've taken that cable car down the other side. If you're doing in the opposite direction, you would just click this button here to change that. So I'm going to start with Alpnachstad. And then here, choose simple, because we're just going one time up and over the mountain, and then choose your travel day. Usually you need to do these reservations a couple days in advance. which is what I recommend, so you can make sure that the weather is nice. But if you have a very inflexible itinerary, then you're going to want to do that even farther advanced if you need a very specific day and time. When I go to the tickets after I've chosen that, it's going to give you this image to make sure you know what you're purchasing, in this case up the mountain train and down the cable cars. Then I have my date here, and then it's showing me the different classes of tickets depending on what discount cards I might have. In this case, we're talking about traveling with the Swiss Travel Pass, so that's what I'm going to choose here. I'll choose one person. If you're traveling with children and you have the Swiss Travel Pass, you will have a Swiss family card for those children aged 15 and under, and that means they travel for free when you buy a ticket here. So their ticket costs $0, but they still need to have a ticket. And then you're going to choose that time for the train that we discussed earlier. So when I was taking that 9:38 boat, that meant that I was going to board the train at 11:05. You can see here that I have 3 people that are getting a reservation. That's 5 francs per person. And it shows me my boarding time and when it's departing. And then I click continue and go through the rest of the process. If you don't have any travel passes or discount cards and you're going to be paying full fare, or if you have a Swiss half fare card or your rail pass or some sort of other discount card, then you should choose the golden round trip option. Then you decide whether you're going to take the boat, which means the golden round trip, or you want to take that train between Lucerne and Alpnachstadt for the mountain train, which would be the silver round trip. In most cases, people are doing the golden round trip. So now for the golden round trip, I'm going to choose a day. Then I'm going to choose my direction of travel. If you're starting with the bus and the cable car, then you're going counterclockwise on that loop, and that would be number 1. If you're starting with the boat in Lucerne and then going up the mountain train, that would be the second one. And then you'll see first and second class. In most cases, you're going to choose second class. First class only applies to the boat. If you don't have any discount cards, you're going to choose the full fare price at the top. If you have a half fare card, go ahead and choose that one. Then choose the ticket that corresponds to any travel cards that you might have. And if you do have the Swiss half fare card and you're traveling with children, then you'll have the free Swiss family card for each of those children aged 15 and younger. You still need to indicate that you need a ticket for them here, but you're not paying anything for that ticket. Then you're going to choose the time that you want to board the train, in this case, again, 11:05. And then just review that we have 3 people traveling and each of them have a reservation, which costs 5 francs per person. All the information that we've covered here is in our Switzerland travel guide that you're seeing here. The guide includes an itinerary for the Lucerne region, which includes 1 day for Mt Pilatus and has all the instructions that I talked about here in the video. I'll leave a link to this guide below, and if you're still confused, you can always book a travel consult with me and we can discuss your specific needs. Have fun out there!